How do you find on Daniel Penny on count 2? Foreperson stands up and reads, "Not guilty." Daniel Penny's side of the courtroom starts to applause. Finally justice! Judge scolds them. Be quiet!
We need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud.
Daniel Penny acquitted. This was day 5 of jury deliberations. A pretty short day inside the courtroom because the jury came back with their not guilty verdict very quickly. And on Friday, we were wondering what this judge was doing because the jury came back and they were hung as to count 1. They couldn't decide what to do on that. The judge lectured them, gave them the Allen charge, sent them back in twice, I believe, and said, go look at this again, convict him again. Then when they couldn't come out on count 1, the government dismissed that charge. And because we were already in the middle of the trial, the jury had been impaneled already. Jeopardy's attached to that. That charge is not coming back. So then the jury came back and the judge split this and said, let me take a chance. Let me see if the jury will go back and convict him on count 2. It was an insane statement to hear from a judge gambling with somebody's presumption of innocence in the middle of a criminal case. And fortunately, the jury must have heard what this judge was trying to do and been so disgusted that they came back and found him acquitted. Not guilty on second count, so all counts are now gone. And they did it quickly and unanimously. So here's what happened in court today. Of course, Inner City Press reports from New York. Please give him a follow and thank him for doing this work so that we can review these excerpts together from inside the courtroom in New York where there are no videos and there are no audio live stream publications happening. Here's what he reported. All right, now it's Daniel Penny, day 5 jury deliberations. Only count 2 remains after count 1 was dismissed. Inner City Press wrote a whole book on this. You can get your copy on Amazon. I recommend it. Says, here's what's happening. 9:39 in the morning. Judge Maxwell Riley enters the courtroom. Stage left. Not yet in a black robe. Carrying a tall paper cup, presumably coffee. Court officer, morning, Judge. Judge waves like this. Exit stage right. Inner City Press Matthew Russell Lee's reporting. He's looking around this empty courtroom saying, interesting interaction. Meanwhile, protesters are chanting down the street. Justice, no justice, no peace. Time keeps ticking away. Clock counting down. 10:03 a.m. Judge Wiley comes back. Now he's in a black robe. Come to order. Count. All rise. Your judge is here. Counsel, have a seat, says the judge. Good morning, Your Honor. Prosecutor Daphna Yoran is standing in the gallery, looks up and says, oh, okay. She walks forward now to the prosecution table because the judge just burst in there. Daniel Penny and his lawyers are not even in there yet. Somebody goes and grabs them and they walk into the courtroom. Judge says, all right, good morning. Now that we've got all the parties here, I've received communication since the last time we were in session. On Friday, as you know, I added an instruction to the jury after saying to consider count 2. Now, I've thought more about what I've done here. The court concluded it would be lawful. Meanwhile, the defense said it wants more instructions. Daniel Penny's lawyer, Daniel, says, Your Honor, well, we've thought a lot about it too, by the way, and we're moving for a mistrial. There's no way you should have given them a second crack at this and called it a chance opportunity, whatever. So we are not going along with whatever you're doing here. We object. We add that the court never ascertained if they were even hung on justification, which, remember, we've talked about how the burden shifts, right? Daniel Penny basically says, yeah, I choked him, but I was justified in doing it, so I cannot be criminally liable for this. And then once he proves that, then the burden shifts over to them to prove that he was not in fact justified. So the burden shifts back to them, and he's saying, well, we don't even know what their hang up was. Like, we never got into it. Was it justification that was the problem? Or was it something other than justification? Though it can be inferred. Well, I don't really care. I deny your motion for a mistrial either way. The jurors can continue their deliberations, and I think it's lawful. You don't. That's fine. You're overruled. Whenever they're ready for us, we're ready. All right. Anything else? Nothing. Jury enters. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hope you had a nice weekend. I wanted to tell you before we begin that the court has no role at all in your deliberations. It would be improper if I were to bring you in here and put pressure on you one way or another, and we're not going to do that. So with all that said, it's now time for you to continue your deliberations today. Any questions? No. Jury exits. Now some time goes by. We're back. It's 10:27 in the morning. Daniel Penny and his lawyers, they've come back up to the defense table. This time before the prosecutor, Daphna, returns. Judge Wiley's not on the bench. Prosecutor Yoran comes in. Now the judge comes in. Everybody stands up. All rise. And we're down. Come to order. Judge says, I understand we're here. The defense brought us here. Does the defense want to go on the record? Yes, we do, Your Honor. Thank you for recalling this case. When we retired to the anteroom, there are audible chants that are happening right now. We can hear it outside. They're screaming about no justice, no peace. They're saying Daniel Penny must be convicted. This is totally inappropriate. that there are jurors in there that are deliberating right now. Now, I would like these videos from my cell phone. I recorded it. You can hear it clearly from my cell phone to be made part of the record. What are they saying out there? Well, the chants are, Your Honor, it says Daniel Penny, subway strangler. If we don't get no justice, they don't get no peace. Over and over and over. Which we take as a threat against the jurors, because that's exactly what it is. The press conference outside the court on Friday said the same thing. This is a circus-like environment, Your Honor. This is not okay at all. Prosecutor says, I haven't heard anything, Your Honor. The only thing I've heard is justice for Jordan Neely. That's what I hear, not threats. And the man with the bullpen is gone now. There are numerous threats from the other side during this trial as well. If you view the press conference, look at the threats about if Mr. Penny is found guilty, what they're going to do, Your Honor. Well, that's true, Judge says. Well, I saw a pro-Penny bullpen this morning too. Your people have protesters out there? Yes, all right. But it's true that the anti-Penny chanting went on longer today than usual into jury deliberations. And so put your video in on a flash drive, okay? Put it in. Give me the cell phone video. But Miss Uran is right. There has been unfair shade thrown on the DA Bragg and this prosecutor, right? Give me a break. Now, I deny the motion for a mistrial. Now, if they ask, I could try to find a jury room where they couldn't hear it, but I'm not sure I could find one, okay? I could bring them out now and ask them. Well, it's moot, Your Honor. If it starts again, it's moot, if it starts again. The ADA has some control over the protesters, Your Honor. This is the defense team. They can shut them up. They're the government prosecutors. They can just go enforce the law. Just send some cops out here to clean it up. Stop that, Mr. Kenneth, says the judge. I've already addressed this. They have free speech rights and they're allowed to protest out there if they want to. Now, Your Honor, he brought up the press conference. Your Honor, says the defense, it was a press conference by the lawyers representing Mr. Neely. Let me finish this before you cut me off. Okay, defense, do you want me to bring the jurors in and ask them if they want to move rooms? Is that what you want? Well, let me check with Mr. Reiser. All right. And then they talk about it, because unfortunately that would just compound the problem. Now we're going to tell them about this and make it known to them. They shouldn't be hearing it. We shouldn't have to come in and say, sorry about those protesters out there chanting for you to incarcerate this man. Judge says, all right, I may call you back in. Go talk to Mr. Reiser. It's now 11:22 in the morning. Prosecutor Daphne Uran has come back into the courtroom. She's walking around whispering into her cell phone. Violate his constitutional rights. I don't care about the Constitution. What do I care? Yeah, do whatever you want. Yeah, do whatever you have to do. I'm a prosecutor. Alvin Bragg said to do it. We're corrupt. We don't care. So she's whispering. Now he goes back out into the hallway. Still no sign of Daniel Penny or his lawyers. A few more minutes go by. It's now 11:26. Now Daniel Penny and his lawyer comes in. Then Judge Wiley through the side door. Come to order. Judge says, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. All right, you saw the jury note, right? We, the jury, have come to a unanimous verdict on count 2. Jury is now entering, filing in. Everybody's standing. You hear a pin drop. An envelope is being passed down. Your Honor, here's the note. Judge opens the notes, starts opening it up. It says, how do you find on Daniel Penny on count 2? Foreperson stands up and reads, not guilty. Daniel Penny's side of the courtroom starts to applause. Finally justice. Judge scolds them. Be quiet. Somebody on the Neely side stands up and says, somebody's going to be killed over there. Judge scolds him. Get out. Someone else on the Neely side says, it's a small world, buddy. This is a racist country. Judge gets up and exits the courtroom. And that's the verdict, brought to us by Inner City Press. So Courthouse News also reports, says Daniel Penny was caught on camera last year choking him, as we saw in the trial. There were drugs in his system and he was not dead when they showed up. And the cops themselves didn't even want to touch him. The cops themselves said they wouldn't give him mouth to mouth for a minute because of his possibility of carrying disease and so forth. And he was a homeless man who was neglected and probably very unwell. And it's a sad state of affairs when anybody dies. Don't want anybody dying for any reason unnecessarily before their time. Don't want people who become homeless and are forgotten about and left to suffer and die in our streets. That's not a good thing too. Most of the time, people who prevent that stuff from happening are family members, right? Our government's pretty bad about taking care of homeless people. What normally happens is family takes care of people and other people in extended family jump in to take care of people. But that did not happen here. Now the family is out screaming foul because they lost a loved one, which you can understand, right? Anytime you lose somebody, you have a dead person in your life. It's a sad situation. But now they're demanding recourse and saying that there may even be violence, I guess. Here's one person. Here's what he said.
We need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
All right, I don't know what that means exactly. I don't think Jordan Neely was put in a chokehold because he was being loud, or I think he was being a threat, and numerous people who were there in the subway that day were defending Jordan Neely, and the cops showed up, didn't even want to touch the guy. So the reaction from their family is also embodied here. I think this is the father, and of course, as we've seen, that often happens in situations like this when there's a homeless person. The question always becomes, well, where were you guys when he was homeless?
BLM had threatened to burn down parts of the city, cars, whatnot. Let's watch. They're angry over Daniel Pitty being found not guilty.
Do it for us. And clearly, if we get to this point, it's too late. We have to be there for each other, and that's our call to action. Everybody that's pissed off at this verdict, I challenge you to go outside today and help one person. That's my challenge. If you're angry, go help one person.
That's good advice.
That's how we beat the system. That's how we
Helping somebody is beating the system?
turn this around, by being there for each other.
I just want to say,
Okay, I think this is father.
I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts. Really, really hurts. What are we going to do, people? What's going to happen to us now? I had enough of this. The system is rigged. Come on, people.
Sometimes tragedies happen. You do not have to have criminal charges as a result of every tragedy. And I can understand a father who is grieving. And I understand having a family member who is really embroiled in a drug situation. I'm sure many of you do as well. And so it's a tragedy anytime you have somebody who becomes homeless, who becomes addicted to drugs, who becomes forgotten about by our society because we're too busy focusing on the other side of the planet because we can't take care of our own people in our own country. So it's a sad state of affairs, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to incarcerate somebody who was defending other people against an unwell person. That's not justice in America. So I don't know what they're demanding now. Who knows? Meanwhile, Jordan Penny and his lawyers celebrating a victory, grabbing some drinks out on the town and celebrating not going to prison for a long time because Alvin Bragg and New York prosecutors politicize the entire justice system there. And they go after people to get reelected, not to pursue justice.